This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
VALORANT fans from around the world have come to Seoul to see the best in the world fight it out for the game's biggest prize. And maybe, just maybe, watch Aspas and Kingg make another run for the crown. Hello everyone and welcome to day 6 of VALORANT Champions, coming at you live from the COEX Artium in Seoul, South Korea. Goldemoy here alongside with Paper Thin and the only person who has hair, Achilleos, and he's alive! Oh, Wingman is back! Mimi and Sideshow were trying their best to kill him, but you can't keep a good man down. Oh, what a time to be alive, kids. Oh, well.
It's just like the end of the Sunset Cinematic. Oh my God. Wingman survived after all.
Yeah, look at that. They kicked it. And then Wingman, you can't keep him down.
I spiked him during Pacific when DFM won their first game. I was just so excited DFM won their first game, so
he's just a little guy.
It's like when you spike a football after a touchdown. I know, but
all I'm saying is this. I hope everyone is ready for the most Unk energy desk of all time in the history of this game.
Only you two. I'm not involved.
You're here.
Yeah.
You're just 2 years younger than me.
That's getting ready for the before school sales. He's going to be buying his rulers and his protractors.
It might be only 2 years, but after you get past 32, it starts becoming exponential.
Yeah,
so you guys are it becomes like more like dog years.
Yeah, you actually gain 2 after every year after that. Fun fact, kids. You'll find out soon. In any case, so let's go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday on this stage. We had some great matches, man. And honestly, some surprising results. Everyone came into this Heretics Gen.G game genuinely favoring Gen.G because why the hell would you not? And then Heretics comes through, wins on Lotus, and then manages, Paper Thin, to take Bind. Absolute insanity.
No, what a crazy result. And you're seeing the full force of this Heretics roster. Now that they've got their starting 5 locked in place, they are confident, they've got a little bit of rest underneath them, and they are looking so strong. Gen.G didn't have the greatest of games, I thought. I thought there were some mistakes individually that they were making, but
things felt off.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't really say the same for DRX, because on the other side of that, DRX were cooking. This is a team that was coming into this Achilleos with, a new look, some fresh faces, but a few new faces, and it feels like we're seeing the DRX of old.
No, it does feel like that again, because, Mako was right there alongside Buzz. That veteran core, the 2 remaining players that have pretty much always been there, were the ones that were having the biggest performances in the lobby, and that's not to say that we didn't see big performances from the likes of Bane, Flashback, Foxy9. This was a great team effort, but it was also fantastic to see Mako being able to get back into form and be fragging while picking up that IGL role. We should have all known that this was going to be a DRX win because they don't get grouped. Granted, I guess they could have gone through the lower bracket, but they're able to get that victory over Fnatic. It was insane.
It's a Fnatic, okay? I don't know if we would have known that DRX were going to win.
Look, if you had asked me going into the series yesterday, who do you think's going to win? I said this on the cast. My brain said it was going to be Fnatic. My heart said DRX. Therefore, I predicted DRX.
Yeah.
But, you're taking Mako versus Boaster, a guy who's been in IGL for years, Mako who's been in IGL for months.
Yeah, no,
and he's able to best him.
And also, Buzz number 2 behind Aspas right now in overall performance. The guy's absolutely ripping it. It's going to be awesome. But of course, we'll see them later on. But let's talk about what we got on the horizon here today, because we have 2 awesome matches as well. We got Leviatán versus Trace Esports, a surprising second team that we see in that first matchup. And then after that, it's going to be EDG taking on G2 Esports. Fascinatingly enough, we're getting China versus Americas today. Yesterday was EMEA versus Pacific, so quite fascinating.
The way that it's all shaken out.
The script writes itself. But here's the thing. Let's go on to our Massacre fan poll, right? Because Trace Esports pulled off a huge upset last week, and we want to know how far you think they're going to go. It's going to be 3rd place in groups, playoffs, semifinals. Do they take the whole kit and caboodle, the enchilada, if you will? We'll see. Honestly, I would love to see them do incredible things.
Oh,
Look,
But
they
they're
look really
playing
good in
Leviatán.
the game we casted. I was like,
But they're
ooh, I
playing
was so impressed.
Leviatán.
I know.
But they're playing
It's so
Leviatán.
hard. It is going to be an incredibly difficult matchup for them.
Yeah.
No way, no matter how you cut it.
But imagine if they could do it.
Oh, for sure.
Because already
Yeah.
jumping that hurdle and being able to get the first victory, something that, EDG, then FPX had struggled to do at an international stage. If they could just go ahead and get that and then get into playoffs in the first tournament for a lot of these players, that would be such an incredible story.
Yeah, it would be quite the achievement. But before we get into today's first match, we're going to do something pretty fun. I'm already sweating. Oh, my God. You see this, boys?
Yeah.
I'm going to be leaking today. All right, here we go. We're going to do some blind rankings. That's right. We got a top 5 list, and here's the fun part. Only I know who we are ranking. So, and these guys, these knuckleheads over here, are going to have to rank them without knowing, and they can't change your vote. That's very important. Once we lock it in, you're done.
We have to come to a consensus between the two of us, because that might be
suppose so.
pretty
Kinda have to.
difficult.
All right, your first one is EDG's Smoggy.
Smoggy? Ooh, man, oh man.
Where would you rank Smoggy?
He's playing so good right now.
Keep in mind, you don't know who the other people
I
are.
know. I'm like in the middle with him. I want to like.
I feel like, he cooked in that series, but Foot also looked pretty damn off compared to what we kind of had expected from them.
Okay.
I think that we go with a safety 5.
Wow, you're just gonna stick him down in 5.
I think that, I think a big, rating him as like,
Can I bargain you to 4th?
deal.
All right, so here we go. We're going Smoggy at number 4. All right, next up, it's going to be Kingg from Leviatán.
Ooh, see.
You saved
A good IGL. Does a great job with his team.
Fragged out pretty hard versus Talon.
He did.
But
again, Talon, a little all over the place sometimes.
I feel like that last player that they're throwing at us is going to be somebody that's incredible, so they're trying to bait us into putting things in.
We would
like
I would never
We're
do
ahead of
that.
the game. We're ahead of the game.
So
I would never do that to you.
5th?
I think we have to go 5th.
I think we have to go
5th for
5th.
Kingg.
That's
Oh,
tough.
wow,
He's
that
a
is
great player, but yeah.
I'm actually kind of offended, but that's perfectly fine. Look
Yeah,
at the
I
hair
don't
on
care.
it. Okay. All right, you're playing the odds. All right. Number 3 is Leaf.
Leaf.
From
Man.
Now I feel like we've been trolled.
G2E.
Yeah. But I would have rated Leaf higher than Kingg anyway. I don't know if I would have rated him higher than Smoggy, though, so that's where I'm now.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I feel like we just have to put Leaf in 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is amazing. Since when do we agree on stuff so easily?
This is impressive. You guys, you're coming together now of all time.
Yeah.
Here I am.
I think it's after that DRX win, we're both still just riding the high. Of all that.
All I wanted was just a little bit of dissension. Can I gotta get a little bit of dissension on this desk? Unbelievable. Okay, here comes your next one. Kingg from Trace Esports.
Oh, okay. But he popped the heck off against Vitality.
But
he was going
Did he
nuclear.
pop off more than Smoggy or
no,
Leaf?
Smoggy kind of popped off more.
In this context, where I have no choice but to say yes, he did. Yes, he did. Kingg, what a goated player. Absolutely incredible controller. I think
you replace him?
definitely my...
Oh, he's out of this world.
All I'm
He's doing
saying
multi-kills.
is-
He's gonna challenge Leviatán.
You don't know who number 1 is.
I don't.
No, we don't.
So you can make an interesting call here.
Let's go 2, and if number 1's 10s, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Oh, no, I messed that one up. It's okay. Here, we'll move him to the
from
side.
the bottom up, we're just like,
Okay, here we go. This is why they don't let me do the telestrator, because I always break things. All right, and your last player is
Our number 1.
Aspas.
Oh, yes! We nailed it!
Look,
I
I knew
hate
it was
that.
going to be, I figured it was going to be either Aspas or it was going to be Buzz. Those were my guesses to be on this list.
You can't be this lucky.
And boom, we left it open.
We nailed it.
We played the game. We might have trolled a little bit with that second place, but
We would have destroyed on the Price is Right, is all I'm
yes,
saying.
yeah.
I
we
mean,
would've-
I gotta say though, this outside of Kingg, which I think was sacrilegious. Outside of that, I would flip Kingg.
I would flip Looking and Smoggy.
Yeah.
That's fair.
If I could make one move, I think
That's
that
fair.
would be the most
That's
impactful
fair.
one I
That's
could
fair.
do.
All right. Well, good job. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. You
Thank
have
you.
accomplished a great feat today. You win, I don't know, a bottle of water. I'll get you something. It's hot in here.
Sweet. Nice.
All right. Now, Aspas, of course, is back on that champion stage. He's looking for a second world championship. And earlier on, Mimi sat down with Valorant's final boss to talk about some of his greatest hits on that very stage. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm joined here by Leviatán's Aspas. Thank you so much for joining me. I wanted to start by just kind of talking about the fact that this will be your third Champions. What does it mean to get to do it again?
It's an incredible feeling being able to play another Champions. By playing another Champions, I got the chance to know another country as well. And now it's my first time here in Korea, and I'm really excited to play here.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch you guys fight. But before the competition starts, I wanted to look back at some of the moments from the previous champs you played in. So we have a couple clips prepared for you. And I just want you to kind of talk me through these moments, what you were thinking, what was going on in these ones. And we're going to start with this clip. You remember this moment?
Remember?
Yeah?
Yep.
Where was it?
It was in Champions against Optic on upper final, I think.
Yes. And this was the rivalry, right? When you were playing against them so much that year.
Played against them so much time.
So you're in the 1v3.
I remember we had the tech pause after this round as well. A long tech pause. And I remember that there I said, how much time I have, guys?
Only a second on the clock, and you win it. What was the celebration like after that round?
Oh, my team got full excited, but the excitement didn't last long since we had the tech pause.
Yeah. But that was just one part of the final. We go a little further into the final. You're down 12-11 on Breeze.
Remember this one as well? I like this one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna kill Marv picking double doors. Then I kill Ye holding. And then I kill one more, I think Crashes with jet knives.
This is one of those, I feel like when people watch it, it's one of the like classic Aspas kind of rounds.
I love this round.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you thinking in a moment like this? Are you like really thinking about the next move, or is it really natural what you're doing?
I was in flow state, so like was everything like automatically, if I would say. Like I was just going and I knew everything that I was doing.
Do you react a lot in moments like that, or are you just locked in and kind of let it all happen?
Just locked in.
Okay. But that was the Champions you won. Then you come back, still on Loud, but with a new roster, and you make it to Champions 2023. And I want to start with a moment here. You're on Split. Tell me if you remember this round.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill 4.
Raise Rocket in.
Yep. Headshot. Gonna take this Vandal, and I'm gonna kill 3 more.
Do you remember all these moments vividly?
Just some specific ones.
Oof.
Oh, that was a Red Bull power.
Yeah, the shots in that round are just ridiculous. And again, like this, all of these clips, when you're watching them, when you're feeling them, do you ever take that moment to like reflect about the events you played at, or is it always just kind of another day on to the next thing?
Sometimes I like to watch like back those things, but it's because I like to watch highlight videos. So even if it's not from me, I always like watching a Valorant video highlight and those stuff. So there's like a channel that posts Valorant, Aimer, then 30 and things like that. So I love watching highlight videos, and sometimes I watch mine as well.
Yeah.
And this is like just good to see.
Yeah, it must be fun, and I'm excited to see what highlight moments you can create in this event. Best of luck, Aspas, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Sometimes I watch my own highlights too, you know? Don't ask where, don't ask which highlights. I have none. But sometimes...
You got ahead of me. I was thinking that. I was like,
do I watch my own highlights? All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into this matchup, shall we? We're going to yap about some Leviatán because they had a close 2-0 win over Talon. And look, everyone stepped up. This was very much a team effort in this win. But, you know, they were definitely caught off guard by Talon's more unconventional style. We've seen this happen before, guys, to Leviatán in the past. When they get caught off by some weird composition or some different way of playing the game. Are you feeling still pretty good about Leviatán in this competition, despite what we saw against Talon?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is a team that you don't really want to discount. Yes, they have had their stumbles. We saw that on display over at Shanghai, but I think being able to get through Talon sets them up really nicely going into this series because we don't really expect any crazy curveballs coming out of Trace. They're a team that plays very much straight up Valorant, uses some very standard compositions, don't really like to shake things up too much. So I think for the most part, LEV should be very well prepared coming into this.
Yeah, I think Trace is really good, especially in their big picture assessment of how you should play the maps. They rotate well around the map. They have good ideas in trying to create
good, honest Valorant.
Exactly. Some of their mistakes are more individual and sort of coordinated. In that aspect, they were having some struggles. However, they really fixed a lot of that against Vitality. They were much cleaner than I saw in their VODs leading into this event. So they are going to be a difficult opponent. It's just Leviatán has so much firepower on this team now. I mean, Mazino's popping off, King's popping off, everybody's popping off on this team.
Yeah, I know. They got a bunch of world champions as well, right? Speaking of world champions, Yinsu had an opportunity to catch up with Calm. Let's get his thoughts heading into this matchup.
I am so honored to be joined by Calm, the GOAT from Leviatán. Of course, Go recognizes Go, and we saw Finesse was tweeting and making some discourse about how he thinks you are the most underrated player in the world right now. How would you like to respond to that?
Finesse is a smart man, but you know, a lot of things I do off the server is like, I guess, kind of unrecognized. But I have a great team, and yeah, I think that's my overall answer.
Oh, we love you. You got this. Good luck today.
My humble king. But the thing is, it makes a lot of sense. He's always been that type of individual, right? A level-headed person who, you know, does a lot behind the scenes. That stuff does go unnoticed, but I don't know. I have a feeling like, you know, this whole team, everyone has these different ways of contributing to the squad in such effective ways. And, you know, speaking of, right, you also got Kingg, who's going to be going up against Low King, which I quite like that one. Couple Kings out there. A battle for the throne, if you will. You just got weapons across the board on this squad, but I'm curious to see how Low King matches up against a guy like Kingg on the other side.
I mean, if he's able to do anything like we saw from Chase's opening series, then I think that Low King is going to be putting up a very tough fight here. But I mean, Kingg in his own right versus Talon, he was one of the most consistent fraggers that they had on the team in that matchup, and he was looking absolutely incredible, as he often does. I'm really excited for this one because, again, I do favor LEV really heavily because of just the comp stuff from Trace, but they showed really, really good fundamentals to a level that we hadn't been seeing from them in China.
Yeah, and I think, like, for Low King, he does a really good job of reading the map. Like, especially on Ascent, he was all over there catching Vitality completely off guard so many times, where he just got these huge multi-kills in positions where Vitality had no idea that he could possibly be there. So things like that are going to need to be accounted for by Leviatán. I think that's going to be the biggest issue for the side of Trace Esports today is, now that you've seen some of those tricky maneuvers that they might pull out from time to time, now Leviatán has tape on that, and they have a very similar map pool, so this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, for sure, but something that cannot go, you know, not discussed is the emotion that was displayed on that stage by Trace Esports, how much that win meant to them. One player in particular was Hebei. We actually got an opportunity to catch up with him to talk about that big win against Vitality, making a statement here on the world stage in this Omen player moment.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Trace Esports 的黑北。第一次上来就能拿到首胜，我们第一次来到那么大的舞台世界赛，所以我还是很兴奋，就还没平复过来。就是打利维坦嘛，就是我感觉大家都把今天的状态都拿出来的话，可以尝试去拿到胜利的。但是
It's all on BNK to try to turn the tides of this. But such a tough angle to clear. Shock Dart, however, makes it a little bit easier for him. Takes down one. Spots out here on the track. Swoops in. Finds a headshot. The transfer!
说实话，Aspas是我在3年前，我还是在队里担任主决斗的时候的一个偶像，所以我觉得跟他们就有这种能在线下能打这种比赛，就是觉得很奇妙。因为我们在我们 VCT 之间的赛区，我们的队伍就主打就是那种比较靠的是团队能力，不是说个人能力。所以在这一方面，我们只要做的足够的优秀，我觉得还是不会说打得很难受的。就先不管结果如何，但是 我相信是一场很精彩的比赛。
A lot of players in this space look at Aspas as an idol, someone you can look up to. And now Trace Esports find themselves in a position of going up against one of the greatest in the game. This is going to be a tough one without a doubt, but you heard Hebe there in that Omen player moment, guys. I mean, Kilios, he said, if we play as a team, you know, we can accomplish anything. That has been their bread and butter. That teamwork got them over the finish line.
No, it absolutely has been, and if they want to go ahead and get auto-seeded forward into the playoffs, avoid that lower bracket, you're gonna have to kill your heroes. So we'll see if they're gonna be able to get done, because, you know, playing as a team rather than relying on individual firepower can be well and good, but if there's one guy that can just dismantle your teamwork, it is going to be Aspas.
No doubt about it. He is the final boss. He is the ultimate player that everybody thinks of when you think of the top player in the world right now. He's the first on everybody's mind for good reason. He has tremendous mechanics. He has tremendous instincts. He can op. He literally does everything that you could possibly want out of a player.
Yeah, Raze, Neon,
yeah, we can play every duelist.
Yeah.
What else needs to be said?
Yeah, no, it's for sure. And, you know, continuing the conversation, though, with Trace, I want to bring things back to that final round on Bind, because, you know, not only was that an incredibly emotional moment, but I think it just goes to show just the way that this team is approaching the game right now. It's working for them so well.
Yeah, and, you know, this is kind of a reverse example of some of the things that were lacking for Trace from time to time when they were playing over in China, but right off the rip, they knew exactly what Vitality was going to do. That setup from the Viper, you almost always have them sending that pit out on short, so they instantly have the paint shell. They have that net to just go ahead, lock runner in place. And from there, the map is just broken open. The entire game plan that Vitality had to try to start a run back, to get this into OT, to hang in this series, is dismantled within the first few seconds of the round.
And this is just a microcosm of the bigger picture of the way they played this bind with the deadlock. They were so on point with the utility. They were constantly finding great grab nets, great walls to either trap players or shut players out or lock out sites. Just doing such a good job of using this deadlock utility aggressively. You know, it's a double sentinel composition, and it's so powerful on the attacker side on this map, and they showed you exactly why.
Yeah, very few agents can lock down sites like that, you know, like with that wall, with the net, like, so to see them use deadlock so effectively. And this is, of course, a final moment for Biank. You know, an emotional moment. Hebe getting the final kill there as well. It's certainly going to be a tall task, but I think if they could channel a little bit of that success, a little bit of that energy that they had in that matchup against Vitality, Leviatán they have to respect them. You got to respect your opponents.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think there's a lot more eyes on Trace, but I still think coming into this series, for the most part, the expectations on them are going to be fairly low. And that should, and as long as they're not letting the pressure mount, given that they are going to be going up against Aspas, it is going to be Hebe playing against his idol. If they can just kind of shrug that off and go in with a lot less pressure on their shoulders now that they have gotten that first win for their first time here on stage, then they can put up that fight. I mean, Hebe promised that this was going to be an incredible series, and I'm really hoping that that is going to be the case.
Yeah, well, let's actually get some words from Biank, who sat down, or not sat down, but had an opportunity, rather, to chat with Yinzu earlier on. Let's take a look.
I'm now standing by with a guy that could pull off any upset, it seems. It's Biank from Trace Esports, and Echo here to do some translations as well. As I said, you're always pulling off some crazy upsets against NRG the last time we saw you on a global stage, and now Vitality as well. I just want to ask you, what's the secret? How do you always manage to do that?
那大家都觉得你是一个非常擅长在国际赛的舞台上给大家带来惊喜的选手。上一次在全球冠军赛你是击败了 NRG， 然后这一次又是击败了 Vitality， 你觉得你的秘诀是什么呢？
就是在赛前去研究对方的弱点嘛，然后在比赛中去抓住对方的弱点，然后去打击到对方的士气及心理吧，然后去扩大优势。
Okay, I think we just, do some lot of preparation before our matchup against our opponent and maybe grasp their weakness in the game and also just brag their mentality or their confidence as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Echo, and thank you very much, Biank, and see if you can pull off another upset today.
looking to try and make an upset happen, find the weaknesses of Leviatán. It's a difficult one to find, to say the least, especially when you have Aspas on the other side of the field. But Aspas is going to be dealing with Kai, opposite of him, for Trace Esports. And Kai also put up some great numbers. And honestly, I think that there's a little bit of a blueprint to see like how you can take advantage of Leviatán's weaknesses from what we saw in that Talon game.
Sure. I mean, for Kai, eyes on this guy, especially when he's playing that Jet. And if I'm Lev coming into the series, I'm maybe trying to avoid some of the Jet maps, perhaps, because Kai was frying on Ascent.
He was feeling himself.
But also, if you do end up, going to a raise map, then Bang is just going to be able to play that anyway. So you're kind of, it's rough to try to avoid it. But Kai started off so incredibly well, and then even when he does shift over to playing this Cypher, still put up some incredible moments.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting if we get to see a map like Ascent, because he's a good opper. He didn't show it as much against Vitality, I felt like, but in China, he was destroying people. I mean, he's so aggressive on the angles, on the defender side, on Ascent with that op. He's a really fearsome foe. However, he's going to be going up against Aspas.
Yeah, I feel like we're a broken record at this point, but it's like, when you have Leviatán, and got to talk about him, right? Because of what he contributes to the team, and #1 overall currently. Like, the guy is just a stats machine. So much happening today as we get ready for our matches. But we decided to, have a little fun. We do this on America sometimes, so we figured we'd do it today here as well. We're gonna do some bingo. That's right. The youth's favorite game.
Don't even.
What are you gonna say?
No. You get two old guys on the desk, and suddenly you gotta play bingo.
Just because I look this way. All right, now, here it is. So what do we have here? Okay, this was interesting. I think this is the America's
C9 losing map 1. I don't know if that's possible.
I think we need to update.
We might need to
screw
So yeah, well, that.
Okay. Are there any that we can? Okay, so we can get a Reyna pick. We can get a Bucky
map
kill.
Map 3, Clove picked.
Yeah, but
we can get a Shorty
less
kill.
Less than a second to fuse.
I guess some of these are fine.
Yeah, double duelist.
I don't think we can actually make a bingo.
But this isn't America. I'm pretty sure this is the America's bingo layout.
We downloaded the wrong PNG.
Oh, man.
Let's make our own bingo.
Yeah, we should make our own bingo. Let's see. What are the Okay. Let's see here. Calm on a flank, definitely.
Yep.
Right? We'll see if we get that. Maybe 1 or 2. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
right? I don't know why I said it so difficult. That seemed to be quite challenging.
Maybe Aspas Ace.
Maybe Aspas Ace.
Yeah,
we could do that.
Would be a good one.
Yeah. Mitch yelling incredibly loudly, just like, oh my God.
That's like the center square then.
That's the center square. Yeah. Tom yelling at Mitch. That's going to be another one on there as well.
Freebie.
Ball jokes. We're going to have a lot of those. I mean, Baby Ball is beautiful, and y'all don't know about this. Old jokes from Achilleos, because he's going to do it.
Yep.
He's a cruel person.
Won't disagree.
Won't disagree. Here I am.
Not a very nice man.
We asked you earlier on for our MasterCard fan poll how far y'all think Trace Esports is going to go. The results are in, and 3rd place, Group C. You know what, though? Shout out to the people who win it all. Shout out to y'all.
I like the confidence. I don't know that I agree, but I like the confidence. I think playoffs potential is very likely for this squad. I think they look great.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, I think they could do it.
Yeah, I think they can too, because they'll have Vitality and Talon. That one's going to be a little muddy. We'll see how that one plays out.
I think it's going to be rougher for them in a way to go against Talon, because Talon is really tricky to play against the first time. As we saw with Leviatán, they throw stuff at you that is just out of the ordinary. They have multiple comps for every map. At least that's what they say.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's true or not, but we have seen it this year. So that seems pretty likely that you never know what you're going to get going up against them. Who knows, with a little bit more confidence, with a little bit more time, they might be able to come onto the stage and show a different form too.
Yeah, but also I don't want to count out Vitality either.
No.
Actually,
the run back's going to be hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Run back will be difficult, but I think that Vitality, they've proven across the last stage in EMEA that they do have what it takes. I mean, it seemed like overall it was a bit of an off day for them, somewhat, but also Trish is having a really good game plan and picking them apart.
Yeah, sometimes just like that. Any given Sunday. However you play that day, right? And that's how the cookie crumbles, right? But now let's see our predictions, shall we, from the broadcast team. What did we all think the results of today would be? And Brennan Hook and Yinsu Collins. What? I respect it. I respect the choices.
I think Brennan was at the karaoke rooms a little too late last night. What I'm seeing here.
Yeah, he didn't make it to the gym this morning either. He made it late.
The EDG pick I get, though.
This is actually the worst thing, though, because if Trace do win, everyone's going to continue with this Bren Al-Gaib, storyline.
No, yeah.
And people have been saying that because Bren was the only one on Plat Chat that put Buzz into his top 10. And let me tell you,
he had picked both of us.
That is not Bren being good at predicting and just somehow having the foresight that Buzz was going to be good. It was everybody else on Plat Chat absolutely ruining their
he's
top 10.
watching right now, so you could probably just
everybody else dropped the ball.
I'm not discrediting you, Bren. I respect it.
Actually,
Buzz deserved to be there.
Bren, I am discrediting you. But you picked EDG to win over G2.
I did. I feel like the Kong's just going to go crazy.
Okay. I mean, look, I think it's going to be a great game. I was talking to Mimi and Brand about it, and they were saying we're going to go into the mud. I don't know. I think
G2's good at avoiding the mud.
Oh, sorry.
They've got the mud tires on the truck already. They're ready to go.
But it's going to be like yesterday. We're going to have that 1-1. You know, it's going to be one America's team, and then it's going to be one Chinese team.
Wow, I like where your head's at. All right, well, let's go ahead and get the show started, shall we? It's Leviatán versus Trace Esports. You got G2 Esports taking on EDG. Day 6 of Champions Seoul starts right now.
我只能说，其实我们所有队伍等这一刻都等了很久吧，有机会去展现我们自己的风采。可以说这一次比赛就是我们所有队伍沉淀了很久的一部分展现出来了。
I've always looked forward to play EDG. We had a few practices against them in Shanghai. They're high risk takers, and if you don't give them that respect, they'll take advantage of it, and next thing you know, Jet will be in your spawn at 130.
这个队伍是一个很强劲的对手，然后以及他的一些战术安排其实很让我们不适，但是我们只能说现在已经不是以前的我们了，我们会以我们全力去备战这次比赛。
TDG, I love your playstyle, but unfortunately, your playstyle will be countered by ours.
Heartbreak for Lev. An early exit, one that was not expected.
After Shanghai, we had a talk, and we really just had to learn to play as a team. We have some of the most insane individual players, but we were lacking teamwork. We really focus on our scrims and just try to be together as much as you can.
13-7 on Bind, what may prove to be the upset of the tournament. Look at what this means to these players.
T1来说，确实很多外面的眼光确实对我们不好，就是觉得我们来世界赛就是一轮游什么的，但是。我赢下来了，好吧。
Playing Trace would definitely be interesting. They are impressive in certain aspects of their game. You can't take anyone lightly.
Could be any team. I would prepare and try my harder against them. I am always willing to learn.
说实话，Aspas是我在3年前，我还是在队里担任主决斗的时候的一个偶像。就先不管结果如何，但是我相信是一场很精彩的比赛。
Trace Esports. Leviatán.
It's the ambitious ferocious upstarts from China versus the world beaters from the Americas region. You got TRACE Esports, Leviatán. You heard Hebe say he's playing up against his idol in Aspas, but today you got to put all of that to the side. It's game time, and you got to put up or shut up. Here's the series layout. It's Bind, Sunset, and Ascent if necessary. And honestly, here I look at this, and I gotta favor Leviatán.
They have extremely similar map pools.
Yeah.
They literally are playing the same maps that they played in their previous series.
Yeah. Oh man, and honestly, I mean, what do you guys make of this right now? Like, do you feel like this, even though it is the same maps, do you think that kind of helps TRACE a little bit here?
I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on this Bind, and it feels like TRACE really need to get the victory there. That was where they looked the most impressive. That is where that deadlock composition really came together and was looking so incredibly strong. They need to have that similar impact coming out of that agent pick, unless they do throw us a curveball, but I highly doubt that given the short turnaround period. But yeah, need to be able to get this win, try to take this over to potentially Ascent if they can't get a 2-0 closeout, and then just have Kai go crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think over to Sunset, one of the big things that was concerning for me was they weren't really doing a good job of getting info and then using that to make good maneuvers or use it against their opponents. They were kind of just trying to dry read the map, and that really does not work well at this level. So that is something they're going to have to address coming into today. No matter what, it's going to be difficult just because Leviatán is Leviatán.
Yeah, I mean, Lev worked the map so well, right? It's been, you know, their specialty. You're seeing guys like Com who make plays happen. Tex as well. Let's not forget about him. These are guys that, even though, you know, you're not talking about Aspas, right? These are guys who contribute just as much in a variety of different ways. TRACE Esports certainly going to have their hands filled here, but I'm curious to see how much that deadlock throws a spanner into some things here against.
I mean, sometimes it really can catch you off guard, and that was where we were seeing TRACE have just really solid reads, not just dry reading the map, being able to have a very firm understanding of what their opponents were going to be doing round over round. They need to be able to get a similar read here against Leviatán.
It's tricky because deadlock can beat you in two different ways. We saw it with the clip where they throw those grab nets and they set up these trap plays, great. Or if you allow them to get into post plants, it's extremely difficult to get past their utility. So it's finding that balance of avoiding the early traps and then dealing with the post plants, or just getting out of the post plants and then knocking them out of the round entirely.
Yeah, of course, this is going to be a tough challenge here for TRACE Esports. Leviatán, though, certainly are going to have their hands full. Let's not forget about that. Let's send it over to your casters for map number 1. Two guys that love to give out riot gun buddies. Confirmed, by the way. It's Mitch and Tom.
Why'd you have to do that, GB?
So it's me, Paper Thin. Yeah.
And me, Jack Igo. Make sure to get in our DMs right away.
No.
No, ignore that.
Again.
Throw him under the
I
bus.
can't say it was me last time. So.
We've got an incredible series for you here. Lev have been looking absolutely unbelievable, but TRACE, they surprised us in their opening game here on the international stage. Tom, their second time, well, you know they're hungry for that feeling again.
Yeah, and I think they came out of the blocks as a surprise, but at the same time, they looked like they had a decent game plan, a lot of cool ideas. It's not like it was a team that just like kind of fluked it. I think that's always the way that we get with teams that are unknowns or teams that we haven't seen too much of before. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to offer here. And the map pool, at least the first and third map, are the maps that they did well on when they played versus Vitality. So I think it's definitely an advantage to Leviatán. Let's not be silly. They have been performing very well over the last stage. But there's definitely still hope for the China number 3 already. Going to be kicking things off on their attack side. This is where they only lost the pistol and every other round went their way versus Vitality. For now, at least. The game is sort of ground to a halt. There's quite a bit of space taken by Fong Fong, but it's whether or not he can get anything done. The answer is no, but his teammates can.
It's a bit of a shutdown. 4 versus 2 off rip. Pistol round could be online early on. TP by Mazzino. They know that he's here, and they're backing off. TRACE looking to give the space away, taking control instead towards the lamps. Over behind that box, 2 players tucked in. The cam's already reconfirmed the information. And that wall is causing a bit of a problem for Com. Got to expend a lot of ammo to break that open, and they use it to bait in. Locking into the fight. A good start, but still that trap. 2 players stood in behind that box, and Kai's the first to strike. Com now left in an uphill battle. A tough position. At least lands the first, but the time is ticking away. He has to get on that spike soon. Has to root these players out of position, and the double swing. Very close, but not close enough. It's 1-0 to the Chinese squad.
Yeah, I think the time had already gone, so that's why you see the double face towards the end. But I do like just how they're playing their post plants. Relatively safe, but also just having that double up in an uncharacteristic position. And again, we just see the value of the solid timing. I think this team has a lot of really good fundamentals where you're not seeing them make too many mass mistakes, which I think a lot of the teams we've seen like burst onto the international stage or come into the international stage have had as problems. The fact as well that Fong has been able to get that far forward in the early round is something that might have to be thought about, but of course, it's early days here for Leviatán.
And early round 2, you can see that Leviatán have stacked up A. They've got a lot of space, having already pushed straight down A short, so the timer is ticking for Trace to get into B. Calm doing his best to slow them down. There is a rotation from Mazino, but he'll be here too late to do anything. Walking out to the site, just a pistol in hand, and he is quickly dealt with. The site now completely under Trace's control. The flank may be able to find some value, though, from Aspas and Tex. It is being watched, though. It's not going to be found for free, but a battle against these two could go either way.
But the other thing as well is the way that Tracy using the barrier is it just isolates players. So Kingg is just having to wait at the moment because he's completely locked off from a teammate. It means that there's not an easy way back in, and in fact, we're going to see Kingg just go in the other direction. Nice shot from Kai. Looking like they'll keep this one nice and clean unless there's some sort of mistake. And Tex's position could be that mistake. A gap left in the armor. A re-rotation. They've kind of got lost at where Con was, but the shot's not quite clean enough. Even still, Tex has done fantastic work.
Yeah, good damage at the end of the day. No chance to defuse that spike, and both players falling to it, all for the economy. A 2-0 start nonetheless, and 3 weapons carried forward to the next. It's not a terrible start for the attacking side, but here's where the guns come out on the defense and where Leviatán have a chance to put rounds on the board.
Yeah, it's safe to say as well that I think that this choice for Trace is a good one. It's a map that regionally hadn't been going great over the last stage, lost it 3 times in a row to solid opposition. You're talking about the likes of FPX, Titan, JDG, but ultimately it didn't look great. But after their victory versus Vitality and a close victory for Leviatán versus Talon, clearly feeling confident in what they can do with this comp. The buy, though, it's not the best. A couple of pistols will be in play, and I think if they win this one, that would be a pretty impressive start. They've done a lot of damage, actually. Com almost down already.
I definitely started out as a hater of the deadlock, but looking at Trace playing it last time, certainly started to sell me on it. In the first couple of rounds, I agree. That barrier has been a bit of a problem early on. Leviatán control over Bath, orb taken, space taken. And it's going to slow down the round for Trace by quite a bit. When it comes to blow, they haven't really got the weapons. Instead, they're going to use the numbers to try to overwhelm that A site. 3 players stacked up, though, and big players at that. Aspas, the first line of defense. And he's going to get an opportunity as this smoke fades.
40 seconds on the clock. Execution now beginning, but Kingg, as we saw last time out, kicking things off with a bang. Already going to isolate the rotation, make it a little bit harder, but the players on site are already doing an impressive job from Leviatán, but there is a trade back from Biank, at least making it competitive.
And they're starting to get some of these sonic sensors up, trying to throw in a curveball in case Leviatán get aggressive and take some space. Immediately Mazino dropping King. That's a problem. The spike needs to get on the ground, and they know that swing can come in from Bath. 8 seconds now, and they're isolated. No chance to put the spike on the floor until the round is over. 2-1 we go. Leviatán have bought right back into it. 4 players alive as well. It's a very successful round for the defensive side.
Yeah, I think just being a little bit more committed to that A site. As said, like the way that the barrier can sort of isolate teammates from being able to rotate, and obviously more of a problem in the pistol than any other round, but also just holding on to some of the aggressive control. Like, you're not allowing them to get deep through lamps, you're not allowing them to have that showers control, and just denying that space, it makes this execution a whole lot harder, and also just the weaker weaponry in general is always going to be a difficult round for Trace. Now though, we're going to have the buyback in. The only ultimate available right now is going to be the Thrash for Tex, and he was someone in their first match who had a fantastic performance.
Big battle from Mazino. The sprays through the orb doing damage. Fung sent back the other direction, but most of that was the decay. They'll be in fighting form for the late round, but they've been denied any of that control. The Tiger sent out to seize it back. And nobody up close. Trace definitely want to take control of that area now, but in comes the Thrash and sends them back yet again. It's not committed. It's just going to be kept out for the late round, but it's used to get Mizzino into position alongside the orb. And then Texas jump spotting it. This is a bait play from Leviatán. And Mizzino might be able to catch someone off guard as a result, and he does. The orb back up, and he can get right out of there.
Yeah, wonderful interplay. Heibei's going to be the man trying to lurk back through. But this is also going to be checked. No, it's not. Whoops. Well, you know, it happens to the best of us. It's not going to work out this time. He's able to check long again. Can't quite make it up the box. And in fact, we're going to see a late rotation. The thing is, there's still 2 players here, Aspas and Kingg, patiently waiting for this push to be attempted.
Even after still seeing 1 player outside B, yeah, there's just no over-rotations on the Leviatán side, knowing they've got the advantage. Molly now to slow them down even more. And with 15 seconds on the clock, this is getting uncomfortable. Trace have to try to fight for this space, and the nade's gone in. That is going to take Fung Fung off the plant, drop the spike, and with that, the round already secured. A follow-up from Aspas gets another nade, and there is no chance even saving the weapon now for Kai. Nearly impossible. Everybody trained in on that position. 2-2, and this round went even better than the last.
That was just a fantastic read from the side of Leviatán, just not using their utility unless they were pressured over on that A site, and they had a late round Molotov, a late round nade, getting a plant out. They even put a smoke in, so there wasn't really an opportunity for anybody to actually battle versus them. They could just spam through those smokes, and it took ridiculous risks almost just to try and get into position. And then also just the initial combos that you can see the synergy that this team has built over time. And that was the sort of major criticism. When this roster was formed, sure, we knew that there was insane individual ability. They were signing champions winners. Of course, we knew where this was going to head, but the synergy wasn't there. And that is what has happened a lot through stage 2. Com already under pressure, but he's thriving within it.
Talk about this guy being underrated. If he keeps this up, that won't last long. 7-2 already. Big kills, shutting down what could have been a flood straight out of hookah and sending Trace to the other side of the map. They're hoping that Biank can find the space in the meantime. But even walking out here, you can see it's being watched by Kingg. He's been good at just finding his pick, punishing the space taking on this site. Now it's Tex that's swapped in for him, with the smokes being set up as we speak. And Tex ain't missing a beat. Nice clean kill. Kai low HP, just outside the bath, and the swing up top from Aspas. That is going to close him out. All left into the hands of just one. The brimstone of Locking. He's going to have a tough time with this Sheriff in hand and the spike on the site.
Yeah, any damage he could do here would be nice, but with the smoke fading, it's going to end up with back-to-back flawless rounds for the side of Leviatán. After the pistol and follow-up, does seem like they found their footing. And I kind of want to comment on that. It is crazy to me that the only guy coming in looking for a back-to-back champions win is underrated. Like, it's like, how did that ever happen? How did anybody consider...
But even on his old team, the conversation never revolved around him.
I wouldn't
supportive
say
utility was always fantastic,
never,
but
yeah.
in the broad scale of the community, though, I think this is a guy that hasn't got the roses he deserves.
Yeah, I think maybe he should be a bit higher up. And I think this year especially, as I said, with the beginning of the year looking a little bit more sketchy for this squad and not having the performances people expect, I think the blame was sent somewhere, and unfortunately it went to him. But I feel like that narrative, especially of them and able to perform in this tournament, is going to change incredibly fast. Trace taking a fairly early pause though, and I don't mind this. I think the patience of Leviatán has definitely made things a little bit more difficult, and that's the thing with a composition like this. Okay, maybe people weren't looking at Trace within the first round. Like, I'm sure, I don't doubt the Vitality did their research, they looked into this team, but expectations were not that they would, well, I think if you looked at the pick'ems, most people would have them in 4, and that's not the most ludicrous thing to have. The thing is though, they played this map. And I don't doubt that Itopada has been sat behind the scenes, he's watched those demos, he's known what they're going to do. And a lot of their execution on the A site especially is a very similar vein each time. Like, they're trying to lock off that spawn, they're trying to basically make it so they can get into those post plants. And so far, what LEV have done on that side of the map is deny them getting the plant, which it takes away a lot of what the value of this comp has.
You saw a lot of pressure put onto the extremities of the map by Leviatán as well. The orbs fed to Tex, got Thrash online so early, and that was what made them pump the brakes twice. on their B execution a few rounds ago, leading to the time being the main enemy. Now again, there's a player tucked in the corner. This time they'll clear it, and Biank's the one to find it. Doubling up in the battle. Seekers go out, Tech's in trouble, and it's Biank's triple that gets the B site for Trace. A 4 versus 2 as a result, and a plant almost guaranteed.
Well, they got to get the spike back, but it's not going to be easy. Already having to destroy some of the deadlock utility that was slowing them down, but that's all it's done, slow them down.
Double sensors.
And already, well, Biank is looking for a little bit more. You can see comms dissipated to the other side of the map, but he might meet Kai. Waiting there on that lurk, a late lurk, but Com expects it. That might just allow him to hold on to the rifle. The thing is, though, we already mentioned it, the last couple of rounds were squeaky clean for the side of Lev, so I really wouldn't mind if he goes hunting. Tries to drop some weaponry. He is going to have max cash anyway.
Really enjoyed Heibei's little sonic sensors, doubled up on that B choke point. You take a fight against the player, well, even if you go down, your teammates got the trade with the stun, and if they break the first sensor, the second one hits them while they shoot at it. So absolutely gorgeous, tough to deal with, and Com, just like you said, went out to try to punish, but it's him that ends up in the dirt. 3-3, and a well-used timeout by Trace to get them back on the board, but a lot of that goes to Biank. What a phenomenal opening, great flash to start, fantastic correction in the Seekers, forcing Tex out into the open, and he quickly punishes them, and that's the round done before it even gets started.
Yeah, no, he is someone that we already know as like the nightmare of a very specific Americas team, but someone that I guess was there to put some of the other Chinese teams on the map. Because I think we've always looked at the likes of EDG as a threat. I think they proved themselves very early on. FPX had that sort of quirkiness that I still think underrated as a squad. But I think Billy was a shock. And I think Trace are looking to be that here in this tournament. Already equalizing. But as said, when they played versus the likes of Vitality, their attack was clean. The only round they lost was a pistol. Everything else went their way. So definitely facing a lot more resistance and an early Viper's Pit and some aggression on the other side of the map from Aspas, who now has himself an operator. As said, they had so much cash. So him spending to basically lock down an awful lot of control. The question is, how far does he go? And does he catch the spike?
This would be terrible. And it is the spike on the floor. He's not sticking around to defend it. The right call. But early on, Trace losing that, hesitating to pick it back up, and they'll go running right to the other side of the map, right towards that Viper's Pit. The orb already up. They will have a timing to get out here in just a moment. They'll still have to deal with Mazzino on the back side, and he's looking for a fight.
And nade's going to be put in. Mazzino is going to deny 2 before the showstopper connects onto him. And that Viper's Pit now has extra support. Kingg has joined the B site. Tex is there watching behind. They don't have time to go back either. They have to just run into this site or just hold on to the weaponry that they've got. And I'm assuming at this stage they are going for that second option. The question is, again, with credit still available, do the remaining players of Lev just opt to fight this and try and remove those guns?
All the final seconds are ticking down. It looks like a more passive face from this squad. Content to have their credits running very high in the early half, and a 4-3 lead now locked in. This is starting to look a little scary because there's a theme to the rounds that Trace are losing, and it's just stalled out by the clock. They're denied space everywhere they look. They try to force rotations by showing presence on one side of the map, but the picks aren't coming in.
Well, I think as well they've got to start denying some of that early map control. Like, either we've been seeing Lev be able to battle for B-Long, which they did fantastically, a lot of utility use, or this round they just walked up in towards the showers, and Aspas having that much command of the map just can't happen. By the looks of it, though, they might be opting to pick up the pace, and oh, it's a missed shot. That will give them the site.
It will. Ultimate used by Heibei. It's not caught anyone, clearing out the back corner at least, but 4 players inside of Bat. That's a hard one to calculate this early on. Spike tap to try to draw out the spams or any extra utility. Com, a little bit of a tough spot. He's in jail. Might not have been annihilated, but he's put behind bars. Breaks himself out. He's free to rotate back around to the spawn just in case the TP is taken and the B side is the ultimate target. For now, might not be a bad idea for Trace, but they have no idea how many players are waiting on the opposite side of those smokes.
The danger as well is they don't have any more smokes of their own. A cage or two might be able to go up, but I think this has to be a brawl rather than an attempt to plant. Maybe waiting to see if a mistake is going to be made on the other side. But again, planting here is definitely not going to be easy. As there will be spams, there will be attempted denial. I don't mind the idea from Biank to just throw out a flash, but now they are going to make that switch. Kai has been lurking. He's been taking space, and he's going to get the kill. That's a huge kill. That allows them to plant. That denies all the space that was there for the side of Leviatán. It's going to have to be a full retake.
This is what we've been missing. They've tried to push and pull the map, but they've never found the kills on the lurk in these rounds. It was only Biank opening up a site, leveraging it out of their hands, but now they've actually got some space. They've got the plant, they've got the advantage to work with as well. Some players tagged up. And Leviatán definitely gearing up for this retake. The operator on Aspas, waiting for an opportunity for someone to show their face, but it's not happening. A very patient display by Trace as the timer runs down. Feng able to take the double on the back, and now it's just the op. Turning tail to the A site and being chased down. Eventually, they'll just decide to let him be and be content with the round conversion. The lead not extended by Leviatán. We're tied up 4-4.
Yeah, and high impact from Kai. Like, the thing I've always been impressed with from just these recent matches I've seen from Trace is, again, we talk about a lot of the teams that we've seen come in from China, or even initially from the likes of Pacific, and the way that they would play would be, okay, let's use our individual skill, let's be overly aggressive. But that hasn't really been the case for Trace. They are willing to walk into that A site initially and then wait for almost a full minute. Like, they'll just sit there and see if anybody on Leviatán is going to make a mistake. And then the reliance was on Kai. He goes down there, that's going to be such a difficult take. There was already a snake bite put into Hookah to delay by Leviatán, but it's that one kill, it gives them the plant, and then the post plants from them have been fantastic.
Well, much more global control by Trace. I like this look. You're expecting the adaptation from Leviatán. The aggressive pushes. The camera actually didn't spot it, but this will be checked periodically by Kai. He's not going to let them slip by undetected. Two players tucked in the corner for Leviatán. They've been good at taking that space and farming the orbs. Again, Texas got the ultimate online. Thrash was a big problem for Trace last time they tried to hit a site. B was defended by it. Both pulses of the Thrash completely halted the play and left the attackers with next to no time to get that plant in. Now, though, the space taken for free. There's the spot from Kai. Cage to protect him as well. A little bit of cushion, but Tex comes around the side, opens up the back control, and the big swing again. Biank, they're rushing to try to defend this man, but he can't get away. Luckily, the trade is in. 3 kills from Tex. Keeps it doable for Leviatán, though.
Yeah, the sensor to the backside. The wall also holding them back at least a little longer. It's going to take time to break it. I think Aspas not even going to shoot. He just wants to make sure that the game isn't given away, but the nade will do just that. Hebe, that's landed perfectly on him. It will force him out, but he's still standing. Hasn't been spotted. They don't know where he is right now. The sensor will get one. And in the meantime, Aspas, he's actually popped the showstopper, but instead, it's going to try tapping it. Knows he needs to get this one to half. Rocket back out, but he's not quite quick enough. Hebe with the Red Bull clutch will put Trace on the board once again.
And now the lead swaps hands. It's the attackers spearheading the way. That round 5 pause, they come right out of it with 3 out of 4 rounds. Momentum in the sails and starting to fall apart, considering how dominant the early round control was for Leviatán, winning it off time in 3 of those rounds. And Hebe, he tanked the nade to start with, showing no fear. And it's Aspas that he ends up dropping. With that beautiful start for him. He mentioned how Aspas was his idol for so long.
But that's the thing as well. Just the way this round kicked off, it almost looked like it was over. Like, it was Tex finding the high-impact double, able to hold control of Showers, having his ultimate online. I'm thinking it's a done deal, but it's the way that they immediately clear the site, realize that there's no further control there, and just to wrap back around to try and catch those players. They knew that it was critical that they had that control for the post plant. Again, just good calling, solid reactions from a position that looked like it was all doom and gloom. You can understand now why there is going to be a pause from LEV. Because they had a streak, they had a good read, a couple of flawless rounds, but now the economy is coming back to bite them. 3 of the last 4 haven't gone their way. And we're starting to see some of the impact that Hebe can have with his utility. Biank already mentioned just how good he can be. And although, yeah, I think expectation for Sunset is it should lean relatively heavy. I think that Trace have already proven throughout this tournament so far that you can look at the stats and how things have played out in China, and it doesn't really mean a lot.
Again, complementing those sonic sensors. One on the spike, one for the control around the back of the tall box. That's why Hebei's so comfortable sitting in that angle they thought was cleared. Now the early push-up from Aspas, I thought he was going to commit fully. It certainly looked like it, perhaps with a dizzy over top. But they've sensed that there's presence here. Now refocusing towards the bathroom. Kingg and Aspas on their way. Tiger goes through, it's seen them, and they've got their sights set on it. They're gonna fight for the control. It's Aspas to find it. And in goes the stim beacon for the swing. Aspas with another, and they're shutting them down. Lighting up the kill feed. The Leviatán side now with a 2-man advantage. That spike has no chance to be planted, and a flank underway. Traps covering it, but a lot of control given to the side of Leviatán.
It's such a deep trip as well. By the looks of it, it's been bypassed. But there is a second one. So it's not going to get any easier for Mazzino to lock them in, but he can make sure they're not coming back. And understandably, again, Trace are looking to try and take their time. Patience is key. There's a possibility that Biank can find a timing here, but I think that timing is well gone. And with Aspas holding and watching, it will be the scoreline equalized once again. A much more aggressive stance this side for Leviatán, and one that works out for them.
And even in the late round, Aspas wasn't covering Bath. I started to sweat a little bit, but the man's got a clock in his head. He knew exactly when that player could have shift walked all the way around. The early aggression, like you said, stim beacon used after the first kill. Tex holding down the site. He's been consistent so far. There's a reason you've heard that thrash online a number of times. Early on, it was about farming orbs and a couple of kills. Now he's 13-5. Gecko having a worldie of a performance, but still, the scoreline's equalized.
I'm excited if we get to Ascent, because he was unbelievable when playing on the Sentinel. Immediately, though,
that's dangerous.
Annihilation has been popped. I think it's going to catch Kingg. I don't know if there's going to be any savior. They are going to try and spam this one, but they've got to be careful that they're not the ones running out of bullets. Aspas, an immediate response to the IGL going down. But even still, the rest of the players somewhat locked out of the site. A flank coming in. Aspas has to fight versus 2, and he gets nothing. The jump across baits the fight, the stun as well to catch Tex. They know exactly where he is. And Mazzino's only just getting into play.
And they know he's coming. He had to break the trap to get through here. I think the hope was that Kai would be one of those players to fall, but nobody's falling on their side, and it's Kai's triple already. Mazzino out to put him to bed finally, but there's plenty players to trade that out. 6 rounds now for Trace. If you came in today thinking that they weren't a competitor, I think they're proving you wrong here and now, and a chance to confirm the lead for a 7-5 half. Phenomenal display already.
But yeah, I think the fact that I think their game versus Vitality woke a lot of people up, that this team can do some damage. Of course, there was talk of a lot of new players for Vitality coming to the stage, but I think it was Gorilla in his interview afterwards was saying, no, this is a legit team. You got to watch out for them. I think Kai definitely proving himself on the Jet, but as well, his depth of agent pool with the Sentinel. That's looked pretty good. Again, we're going to see this aggression. Put Aspas into play, Tex alongside him. Kai is watching, the first goes his way, and the information will be there. He actually gets Aspas as well. Okay, that's a deadly duo to take that. Kick's had enough. Just running, spamming, knowing his opponent was low. But the rest of the team haven't just been sitting there. They're making their way towards the B side, but with 2 kills going down on A, I believe Viper being spotted and maybe even a flash being popped. Definitely a flash, in fact. Mazzino doesn't have any left. They know there's only 1 man on this A site.
They're looking for him. The Tigers got the scent. It's on the way, and King's being spotted. Molly down will delay them slightly, and the net is gorgeous. No escape for Kingg. He's caught not just by the net, but by Fung Fung as well. Watch out for this swing, Com. Lawking's already swapped up his position deep to cover that walkthrough. And with the wall, the barrier blocking them out completely, Mazzino's going to have to give away his position. He knows there's a likely swing, but he can't do anything about it. Phenomenal half from Trace. And what a recovery after those first couple rounds.
Yeah, I think when we saw the 3-round streak in the middle, they're definitely getting a little bit worried that this could be another strong performance from Leviatán, and maybe they've learned from the mistakes of Vitality, but I'll be honest with you, Mitch, it seems like Trace is still a tough opponent.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, they have legitimized themselves, like you said, in that first game here on the international stage. And as we said, they're hungry for that feeling again, up against champions winners, but barely breaking a sweat. That timeout round 5 was beautiful. Let's talk about Leviatán, though, because we've got some of Calm's family members down there. Let's hear from Papa Calm.
Hello everyone, it's the halftime interviews, and I'm Bella, joined by Leviatán's Calm's dad, Papa Calm. 안녕하세요. 이번 서울 좀 챔피언스가 이곳에서 열리는 게 조금 더 특별하실 것 같은데 이번 챔스 좀 어떻게 즐기고 계신가요? Champions in Seoul, it must feel a little more special, right? So how's this champs experience been like for you?
It's definitely a surreal experience. I was born here. I left when I was about 8 years old. And coming back here, I felt a sense of belonging. And Corbin, Calm, also felt the same way. So it's really special to be here.
이제 여기서 태어나셨지만 8살에 이제 미국에 가셔가지고 다시 이번 챔스로 좀 돌아오셨을 때 파파컴도 그렇고 콤 선수도 조금 뭔가 소속감 되게 집에 온 것 같은 그런 느낌을 느꼈다고 하십니다. 그리고 만약에 이번에 콤 선수가 챔피언스를 우승하게 된다면 작년 챔피언스에 이어 2연속 트로피를 드는 유일한 선수가 될 것 같은데 좀 본인은 좀 어땠는지 가족분들은 반응이 어땠는지 한번 듣고 싶네요. You know, if and when Calm wins the title this year, he's going to be the first ever player to win the champions back to back. So how's his mindset been, and how's the family feeling on this?
He's always been mentally strong. He's always about team first. He brings the best in every one of his teammates that he's been part of. And it would be just amazing for him to win back-to-back. I know they'll win back-to-back.
Alright, that is incredible. 이제 워낙 컴 선수가 멘탈도 좋고 이번 팀원들과의 화합도 너무 좋기 때문에 이번에 만약에 2연속 우승을 드디어 차지하게 된다면 너무나 감회가 다를 것 같다고 하던데요. 오늘 파파콤과의 인터뷰 만나봤고요. And let's go back to Bind.
Thank you very much, Bella. Well, good, always good to hear from Papa Calm.
I'm a big fan. If you don't follow him on Twitter, it's worth it. Trust me.
Absolutely.
It's worth it.
And for Trace, this has been a phenomenal first half. Now they move on to their defensive side. And a good, well-rounded showing as well. This isn't the Feng Feng show or anything like that. Biank had some phenomenal rounds towards the end. Kai really stepped it up. Now the challenge is on for the America's #1 seed.
Listening.
And indeed, I'm excited to see what else Hebei has up his sleeve now that they're on the defensive side. It can be harder.
Yeah. He has some really cool ideas. One of them is throwing the barrier through the TP to block off Shower's control and try and trap people in when they go for the orb. We're not seeing that this round. In fact, it's going to be Lev walking towards the trip. Kai's been decent so far, under pressure, but you wouldn't think it. The way that he's playing! 3 in the pistol round.
Remaining.
As said, this guy at times can look like an insane jet, but put him on the center, he's still hitting the shots. Mazzino, though, returns in kind. This would have to be an absurd clutch, but I've seen this man do it throughout the years.
Little heal as well.
He knows where he is.
That spam would have taken him out otherwise. And the heal comes back through. Just below 70. Trace, 4 versus 1. Nobody looking to peak. Playing this one down to the last on the timer. Letting Mazzino be the one that has to step forward. He sees an opportunity. And the shot connects through the wall. So much damage done already. If he had some teammates by his side, we might start to believe. But as he walks through, it's Feng Feng to find him. 8 rounds on the board. Another pistol in the hands of Trace. And an early lead in this half pushes them ever closer to that map victory.
I have to say, I'm starting to become more and more of a huge fan of this Trace side. Again, like, this is somebody getting pushed by 2 players exactly the same time, getting both kills with a classic, not reloading, and then getting a 3rd kill. Like, I have to say, mine does not work like that. Like, I probably would have maybe hit the first guy, and then the other bullets would have gone into the abyss. And well, that map's not even in the series. 8-5, a huge pistol round to convert and increase that lead. And obviously for the other side, there can't be a lot here. Tex and Aspas, two players who've been performing so far in this map will have Sheriffs a chance to do some damage, reduce the purchase, and what is a fairly safe one. In fact, I don't think you'd normally see this many SMGs, but on a map like Biank, there's a lot of tight angles, a lot of ideas that you can throw in, so I don't really mind it.
I think it was Concon who said that at this event, the Chinese teams are going to surprise. They're going to give their all, and, well, so far they most certainly have.
When do we stop being surprised?
Exactly.
That's the real question.
Yeah, I think it was a few days ago. This performance, already phenomenal. And now, 8 rounds on the board, looking to convert another. Plenty of weapons in play for the defenders. The side has been overrun. A deep flash, Aspas already passed it, close and looking for the fight. Down goes Kingg and Mazzino, and Aspas gets nothing done either. It's again Tex that has to do the heavy lifting, and well, he's certainly been spotted. Deleted moments later. 9 rounds now, locked in for Trace, and a wonderful conversion for them with 4 rifles carried forward. The only player that died, well, they had a rifle, but it's recovered by the one with the pistol.
Yeah, it was just the SMGs and then obviously that one pistol, so it really isn't that much of a problem. They're going to lose that one player and everything brought through. Again, though, a lot of teams nowadays, you'll even see some going for like 4 rifles. Well, we saw that quite a bit yesterday, so I'm intrigued to see what the plan is in this round. Is it to try and trap players? Is it to give Kai a little bit more of an aggressive stance and try and use that Guardian? More importantly, though, I'm looking at Kingg, because King's someone, again, you're going to see those assists, you're still going to see him putting in a performance, but last time out versus Vitality, I think he ended on 25 kills. It was one of the main reasons they were able to win, and it was the post-plants of his Molotovs that did so much for them. I think he still had impact with the Molotov in the last half, but you expect a bit more from someone of his caliber on an individual level. Although the Des put him at number 5 in their blind ranking, so maybe not, maybe not, maybe not.
And we don't expect anything. Close to double digits. This could be the round to do it, but like you said, it's common now to see 4 rifles bought up for Trace. They go for a lot of SMGs. They're left with a Guardian on Kai. Good man to have it. And he's right up in A heaven with an opportunity as they look to come through. 2 big traps set up to try to catch them. For Leviatán, they have to be cautious. That angle is being watched. Cam further back. And the ability for Feng Feng to swing straight through after contact.
Yeah, they were waiting for contact to the cam. They've also got Aspas still holding on to control in case they want to go back through the TP. The worry I have, though, is that he's alone with the rifle. So if he goes down, there is potential. The rest of the team are going to go pushing, and they've walked straight into the trap. The sensor catches one now. Aspas trying to take space. He loses the fight as well. This bonus round is about as good as it could get. The nade going to do an extra little bit of chip damage. And my main worry now is that time is ticking. Com, though, has brought this back. He's made it competitive.
They don't want to get too far ahead of themselves. 20 seconds on the clock as the spike was starting to be planted, and sometimes you'll just go swinging in madly, but now these players are boxed in. The rotate's not quite here in time. Tex holding from further back. He has the back, and in fact, he has the front too. Feng Feng down, but the battle for Lamps is a little labored. They get there in the end, a 2 versus 2. Big swing in from Biank, but he gets nothing done. The tap from Hey, and that was terribly close, but it's Calm to bring it across the line. A narrow margin in this round, but Leviatán win an essential round victory in number 3.
That's such a huge bonus, though. Like, you're looking at like multiple SMGs, a single
SMGs.
Guardian. So, like, really, they've done an insane amount of damage. The setup as well was just utterly gorgeous. Like, the way they're combining the sensor alongside those trips, because you kind of have to either just slow walk into those trips through a smoke, where you will die. Like, that'd be an insane risk. And then the second you pop out, if you do pop out, you get hit by the stun.
Yeah.
So you basically have to either be giving the game away and maybe throwing a nade in to try and break that early, or you have to walk into that setup where you can get stunned and revealed, and that's exactly what the guys on Trace were waiting for. It doesn't work out, and of course, there's still players like Com, like Tex, who are up there at the moment performing. I do understand the pause, though, from Leviatán. Like, it's about to clearly realize, okay, that was too close. That was a moment where things could have slipped away from us, and this map might even be in the dust at that point. So I'm going to try and take a moment. I think since he's taken that head coach role, it does seem like this team has found that synergy, has found ways to turn around maps that aren't quite going their way.
Sometimes NA needs a bit of EU to lead the way, you know?
You had to do it, didn't you?
Of course I did.
You had to do it.
Oh, they got text too. I mean, it works in both parts. But, you know, the funny thing is for Trace, in this position, they're still in with a chance to do exactly what you said, to leave Leviatán in the dust, because the damage they did last round means every credit has to be invested. So many players down to their last couple. Couldn't even man the arcade machines. And the beautiful thing as well is the trap set up by Kai, he leaves one out for free. Yeah, if they go blast packing through, they're going to get caught, but most of the time they'll destroy the first trap. And then they think they can walk right in. Little do they know.
He's stuck.
Beautiful net. Tex, though, holding his ground. He doesn't want to take the pin out just yet, and will use Mosh to do it. I like that. A little bit of utility just to make sure he stays alive. Now this time, they're going to go forward. They've already broken the traps. There's a sonic sensor covering it, and then Fung Fung ready to swing.
Oh, he took it back.
Blocking.
He took it back. They didn't break it. He took it back, and he has the second one down. It's actually just... The guy is reading them like a book at the moment. Expected it to come in. Maneuvered it. I think he's put it over the TP, so if they try and rotate, they're going to get stuck. Yeah, it's like right on the edge.
Past it. And this one not as easy to break. Oh, never mind. You have to swing out wide. I thought it was on the other side of the box.
Well, they've also broken the one over towards Showers, so information is there. Fung Fung's still in position. It's expected, and he's going to be removed. An important opener, in fact, 2 coming up from Aspas. We know what this man can do when he's in form. Well, he's cleared the whole site on his own. 3 kills for Aspas. The other 2 players from Trace are out of there.
A much better round from Leviatán, dealing with those trap setups, ready for the player to be tucked in the corner. It's a gamble that Trace took that evidently did not pay off, and it's just due to the pacing. The fact that I assume LawKing was going back to put down another smoke. He wasn't able to swing on time to trade it out, to take Aspas down, and as a result, even the 3rd kill goes his way. Leviatán locking in the 7th round with the save from Hebe and Biank. And the credits for that defensive side, well, they require these weapons to be carried forward if they've any chance of the next.
Yeah, I still feel like they might just opt to save in this next one just to make sure that they'll have a better buy going forward. But those are the sort of rounds you expect to see from someone of the caliber of Aspas. I think widely regarded as the best of the best. I think him and Texture are the one put into that bracket right now. But well, this is the exact reason why. Just finding opener after opener. Stun not quite catching this time, and well, even the nade to close out Kai at the back of the site. Trace are going to take the pause of their own. And again, I like how proactive they're being with it. I think both teams, the coaching staff, are willing to get involved, not going to wait until it's too late to try and slow down what has been a response, because we've already seen it. Like the last time this map was played versus Talon, it was a late resurgence. I think it was a 4-round streak to close the map. And I think Trace probably had their eyes on that game and have decided, you know what, let's not allow them to build that momentum, because, well, if Aspas does that more than once, you're in big trouble.
And you can see it on your screen there as well, that little blinking light in the bottom left underneath Trace. It's the last timeout for either squad. We've had them all burned up early, like you said.
SOT.
It's okay, sorry. That's the last pause in regulation. You know, I think most people understood that, but yeah, you'll get an extra one if we make it all the way to overtime. And in this, with how the map has played out so far, that might not be too much of a surprise if we do end up there. For now, though, you're not expecting much from Trace. They have their 2 rifles, sure, but minimal investments around those. Orbital strike, not likely to be put in. See, Fung Fung's able to afford himself a Guardian, a Stinger in play. There are definitely going to be a lot of weaknesses, but a killer 2, and this is doable.
Yeah, they made it work with the SMGs, even though they didn't win round number 15. They managed to do a lot of damage, so I always like watching what ideas teams have with the deadlock, because I think a lot of teams, the way they played the deadlock was just put it underneath hookah, like one of the sensors, and that was about it. That was about all the ideas they had to just try and throw the wall over. But he's using all his utility on that side of the map, and then just running back in the other direction to set up on B, which is currently where the remainder is going. Zeno's trying to sell the idea that there's a lot of presence, and Biank, he believed him. He believed there was someone there and decided to swing and take the fight.
Right here.
Successful fight. A good scrap. And the rotates on the back of it. No information on the A site. Nobody else seen. They suspect that the B site is where the fight's coming through. That's when Fung Fung steps up, the lighter investment. He couldn't even get full shields. They're trying to save their money for the next round, but now, like I said, at Killer 2, this becomes doable. That orbital strike, you start to think about possibly using it. If you get the information, and that they most certainly have. All 3 players spotted towards long. They're not going to have a way out of here. It's being watched, and they've been spotted coming back 35 seconds, even dealing with that man. If they don't kill him, you're not going to want to rotate to the A site. So much utility waiting there. And yeah, he's on his way to the other side. They still have to break through. Feng, who's got another, the nade and the net, stopping them in their tracks. 20 seconds now, and Leviatán, they have nowhere to go. No space taken, and the spike on its way to spawn. That's a double-digit round for Trace. And it looks like they might want to go hunting when this timer ticks down. Yeah, Feng stepping through.
It's more so if there's guns. I think that's what it is. He's only got himself a Guardian. There's also a Stinger. They are somewhat being watched for, but I think Kingg couldn't really risk an overextension and giving that away. A big round for Trace and a big round for Feng as well. Just being able to find some ridiculous shots with the Guardian, and that was a lot of what this round was. Sure, I think after the fights there were quite a lot of really good pieces of utility, but the actual kills that came in were raw firepower. Like then, look, then we've got a nade, and once you got the kill, I put a wall down. That was just firefights, and I think if there was any aspect of this game where we went, yeah, let's probably have them beat, it was raw aim.
Again, you look at Trace, it's not an issue of what if one player cools down. Everyone is putting up the performance. It's a team effort that's gotten them to double digits and pushed Leviatán into another bye. Credit's still decently healthy. They need to figure out this defensive side. No one there to capitalize on the traps this time. Much more passive on the A site. We saw this from Leviatán when they had 4 players in Bath. I don't think there's going to be too much of a fight on the site itself. Instead, those players will focus on just keeping the control.
With this, it's a delay strategy. Like, you've got the orbital strike, you've got the Molotov as well, the nade from Feng on that side of the map as well, so that they're literally trying to play the exact same game we saw moments ago. Already, pressure being put on. Aspas is just running out. He takes down Kai. That's a great start. The spike attempted to be planted. Orbital strike going to be used, forces him out of position, but there's not really anyone to capitalize just yet. Feng trying his best, and actually, he comes out with 2. Now has a showstopper his own. I think Aspas may have actually just jumped over that, but now he's surrounded. He's got players coming in from behind. They still don't have Shower's control, and I feel like they need to get out. They need to get out as quick as possible. They may get stunned on the B site, though.
And Hebei will be there to capitalize if they do. In fact, Annihilation is used, and it's caught 1. That's the spike! They have to break Tex out, and he's gone when he comes out the other side. Calm left with it all to do, and he's shut down. What a round from Hebei. That utility, the rotation, the reads, absolutely perfect. 11-7 for Trace. They are steaming ahead.
That was just unbelievable. Like, you look at this round, and you kind of sit there and go, okay, they lost an opener. A showstopper's been used by Aspas. You go, that's probably a done deal, right? He ends up in no man's land because of what Feng was able to do. Like, he gets 2 from Showers and holds that control. Like, that was pressure being put in by Leviatán to try and clear that angle. And then you just had superb utility uses. That was the exact sensor I was talking about. I was like, that's what a lot of Deadlock players do. You put that sensor down and you leave it for the whole round. He combined it with his ult.
Spectacular. Trace 11-7, putting Leviatán in jail, and it looks like Hebei's the warden. Lights out though for Kai. Aspas the one to find it.
Back to back.
He's been opening up well on this site, but there's always a response. Only the one to start, and the trades come in favor of the attack. Now the plant can come through. There's not much to deny it.
No surprises.
Maybe an attempt from Hebei. Oh, it's definitely not pretty. Eventually, Mazina will get the job done. And the only reason I'd say about Biank going for this, credits are not bad. 2 players are incredibly low. Now, one of them is going to get healed. So that's something at least. Aspas is not going to be on his last legs, but we've already seen what Biank can do. That information's crucial. Mazino willing to give up his life, potentially, just to try and find that. And why I think there's going to be the swing eventually from Aspas, but he's playing it slow. He's playing it patient. Biank just trying to isolate one of these fights, but the crossfire should be enough to take him down, and it will be. Tex ready and waiting. Left break back immediately, a continuous back and forth between these two sides.
3 rounds between them. This one's going down to the wire. And we've seen some spectacular uses of those timeouts. Every time one has come in, the team calling it's finding a new groove, but there's no more left to use. They're on their own down on that stage. And it's Leviatán. Big ultimates coming online. Viper's Pit. Seekers as well for the late round information. And a spread net from this attacking side, just looking to find any spots where Trace are getting aggressive. They're feeling confident in their individual duels. And if worse comes to worse, just send Aspas in to kill them all.
Spike dropped.
This could be a way back in with credits on the edge for either side. Wang Feng waiting patiently, but after the shot's not connected, he's not going to overextend. That is something else I've enjoyed with these players on either side is feel like there's a respect for each other. Again, those sensors are going to be frustrating. I think they did throw a blast back to destroy them, but just wasn't quite there in time. Spam, it is going to deny the plant. That will at least buy a little bit of extra time, and this fight for Showers could be crucial. We've already seen what they could do with that control, but clearly unaware of how far Com had got.
Great lurk by Com. Yeah, he's just been shift walking up the whole round. Kill comes back in the other direction, and Aspas isn't happy about that, but he goes a little too far. Biank waiting for him. Com walled off and dropped, and a stun in.
Uh-oh.
Retaking the control at the very least. Kingg down to 58, and the double TP used. This time, the B site not so well defended. No traps waiting for them.
He's jumping
no
to the
annihilation. It's going to be the plant in the 2 versus 3.
There needs to be an immediate shot connected, which there is. One goes their way. It's all up to Kingg, and he gets all 3. It's been a quiet game for him so far. But the crown back on his head.
You see Tex hyping him up afterwards as well. Leviatán starting to hit their stride. That's 2 in a row, and just 2 between them. Trace will feel that pressure, and they'll see it manifested in their economy. This was a round that put them down to their last. What a way for Kingg to close this. He had one opportunity, and he seized it.
Hey, my hand's sweaty, my bad. I saw you wipe it.
Coming into the next, there's a Viper's Pit and an orbital strike still.
I love the honesty.
For Leviatán. Attack side, a couple of safety nets to fall back on. If they get site control, post plant's going to be strong with either one of those ults, let alone both.
Kai has had a bit of a tougher time. I feel like he's always been in a 1v1 with Aspas anytime he's in a fight, and he has not been winning that 1v1. You're going to try and play a bit more aggressively. Bear in mind, a couple of stingers in play, but we've already seen that Trace are competent when it comes to their lower buys. Kai already going to fall out of there, not look to overextend and make sure that there's delay. The Seekers have gone out on the other side of the map as well, which means that we're going to see Lower King already push all the way up. They have so much information. They can stack this side of the map.
Com's repositioned though. Now he's up close, ready for this fight!
Already
but he loses it. And now the back is open. Leviatán have to worry about that. The rotation through the TP won't be as easy this time. And lots of utility. It wasn't placed in the early round by Kai. Oh, he has to get out of there. Giving up the control, and Leviatán quick to seize it. Trap goes off, but no one there to capitalize on it. Broken the trap to take Lamb's control. And a lot of space now given to that side with Kai down. It's on Feng Feng. Able to at least take Kingg. Keep the favor in the hands of the defenders, but it doesn't last long. The weaker weapons starting to show. The cracks in this late round defense. The play up by Locking, going all the way around. You can see Bianke's trying his best to draw their eye, and he's done exactly that. A free kill, and now these players surrounded, pressured on both sides. Locking down to 11, and he gets one. One more needed, but he stops at the last second. Tex delivers the fatal blow, and double digits for Leviatán.
I don't know if he thought he was dead or if his mouse went off his mouse pad, but he just froze in place. Well, I don't know what's just happened, because that looked like it could have been a ridiculous clutch. Instead, though, it's the same again. I mentioned this last time out when they played Talon. It looked like Talon had the game done. And then Leviatán dig deep. Then they start grinding out these rounds in clutch scenarios with big individual plays, players who had been missing. Wow, Kingg literally doubled his kills.
Yeah.
A round ago. Even still, though, it was a low buy. Trace now have weaponry back in hand, but for the series' sake, if they've learned anything from Talon, you just can't let this map slip away.
They're going to have to fight tooth and nail for this one. Orbital strike primed and ready by Trace. Loking wants to have that. As a response, they step up into those traps if they get stunned on their way into lamps. But you can see Leviatán were just wrestling for this control, grabbing an orb, forcing the rotations, and they've done just that. Heibei's on his way to A, 4-man stack up on that side of the map.
Well, Biank just used a lot of his utility. He used the Sky Flash down long, then used the Tiger to clear out Hookah. So that's why they've gone for this massive rotation, because he cleared all other information. Now they have to try and sprint their way back to get into position. There is an orbital strike available. Maybe they could try and use that to deny the plant.
I think that's the idea behind the gamble. They'll allow this team to take side control knowing they can pop down the orbital strike. It's primed and ready, but a little late. Perhaps the plan is to use it in the post plant, in the retake for the defensive side to open up some space for them to fight with Aspas up close. That could be the disruption that they need. In goes Thrash, causing problems. In fact, detaining a teammate as well, but it's good enough. Aspas is caught, but they still have to get through that Viper's Pit, and plenty of players are standing in their way. The spike right inside of it, but the sprays going Trace's way. Blind fire, and every shot landing. Kingg and Calm with the smoke now falling. Heibei dying because of the decay, and quite a lot of these players are decayed, but the health goes back to full. They start to tap that spike, cause the spams to go back in the other direction. Kai loses a lot of his life, and the spams aren't landing. They're not even close! Right under their nose! Trace of defuse behind the smoke! And now, on the cusp of victory in map 1, who could have seen this coming?
Well, I'm sure there's a few analysts after that first match that were saying that they could have seen it, but versus Leviatán, as that comeback looked to really gain some legs, just that retake into a Viper's Pit, the orbital strike didn't even really catch that much, and it came so close towards the end. Those spams, not far away, but just not on. And even though there was some body blocking, I think if they had got that correct, it would have easily cleared the players. Just unable to get it. Look at the weaponry as well. Now Leviatán need to make it work with a couple of stingers, or 3 in fact. At least they've got the showstopper.
Well, that's exactly what's going to open up this round for the side of Leviatán. Dodging the annihilation, but the rocket doesn't land. And Mazzino already out of the round. He's caught by a big play through the TP. Feng keeping the control up there. Aspas desperately trying to hold on to life on the site, but this attack side's being split, diverted, and now they've got nowhere to go. Sending it back in the other direction, utility awaits them, but more importantly, there's an aggressive stance from the Brimstone. Now falling back, conceding the space somewhat in the molly to slow them down. King's isolated by it. Beautiful utility. And although he's down to 5, please don't step into that Molotov. We've seen that one before. It's only Calm. 1v3, the first kill easy, the other 2. Should be impossible, he's just stolen it. he's walked right in and walked away.
Wait a minute. He must have been in that smoke, but he's a little bit late. The thing is, the trip's still online. And in fact, look, he's going to die here. Surely he's going to die! The man was on 5 HP, but he still manages to land the headshot. Well, if you weren't familiar with Trace's game after their first match, I bet you are now. What a surprise. Map 1 goes to China number 3. Leviatán have got to turn it.
America's number 1 struggling early. Heibei got to face his idol and best him on the first. Let's see if they can take the series after the break.